Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to CRN. We're here with the good old Core Premier Series here on CRN. Tonight we have the Dirt Street Stocks on a jumpy track. That's right, a jumpy track. You see there Kevin Foster getting his Dirt Street stock up in the air, making it loud and proud. But tonight is going to be a little bit different. That's right. We got round robins going on. We got the Hamilton region. We got the Handwork region. We got the Marshall region. We also have the Foster region. So a lot of these drivers are going to go head to head and move on, so on and so forth, till we find a nice little champion. I don't know what else to say. I mean, it looks fun. Dirt Street stock, catching some air at a jumpy track like Crandon, Brendan. I don't know, man. It just looks fun. I kind of wish I was out there running instead of broadcasting this.
I'm the same way. This is certainly you could say, unorthodox pairing between the cars and tracks. You normally see this kind of track with the super trucks, but now here we are with a car that barely has any suspension the way those super trucks do. And I'm sure when you're watching Kevin Foster and you just see him hurting that car around some of these jumps. So it's certainly going to be a challenge for a lot of these drivers throughout this tournament-esque bracket we have. But it'll certainly be a fun one.
Yeah, so pretty much how it's going to go is there's 4 regions, okay? So you got the Chris Hamilton region, which has Mark Parkhurst, Kelly Pointer, David Tilford, Michael McCoy, John Crane, and Tater Bowman. Mark Parkhurst and Kelly Pointer are going to be the first ones up to go, and then Chris Hamilton gets a first-round bye. So whoever wins out of Mark Parkhurst and Kelly Pointer goes on to race against Chris Hamilton. So on and so forth. So it's definitely going to be something fun to watch out here. Obviously, we have, it looks like Paul Owens and Dan Phelps putting in some times out here. It's having some fun.
I think this is one of the races. I think this is a race.
Oh, well, I guess we started a little bit late there, trying to get everything set up and getting everything going. But Paul Owens getting it done so far. He's got a little bit of a gap between the number 85 of Dan Phelps. He's trying to do what he can to move on to that second round. As Dan Phelps, gets into the side, pirouettes, and Paul Owens able to keep it going. Dan Phelps couldn't find the reverse button, and that's going to allow Paul Owens to move on to the next round.
First, I'm gonna make sure this is the right. If this is okay, yeah. So it's actually a 2-lap race. Carl just called out white flag, but it's still Paul Owens' game. And as long as he can keep that car rolling, he'll have this round down.
Yeah, so last year, Brendan, I don't know, I can't remember. I think you were out on the track when they did the Super Trucks at, I believe it was Jefferson. It was like a little core tournament, as they call it. You know, you have 2 guys going out there, each region, and 2 laps. You get the start, an out lap, next lap ends the race, and whoever won moves on to the next round. And obviously they had the winners bracket, they had the losers bracket, so everybody gets to race. And on this one, there's only 8 drivers going to make the feature race here tonight. And it's the Dirt Street stock. If there's anybody that likes rallycross racing, it's going to be Chris Hamilton. He's all about the rallycross stuff. So if there's anybody out there that is really looking forward to this style of racing, it's going to be that number 64 of Chris Hamilton. This race
is going to be a good one.
yeah. This race is definitely going to be a good one. There's a lot at stake. Obviously pride for one of them, but also getting everything set and going, as it's going to be Mark Parkhurst against Christopher Hamilton for our next race out here tonight. And this is an actual good lineup that I wanted to see, because I've ran with both of these drivers, okay? So Friday nights in the MSRL New Gen Cup Series, me and Mark Parkhurst race against each other in the Next Gens. I'm currently going for a championship as that'll take place next week at Las Vegas. And Mark Parkhurst, he's not the one to, lay over. I mean, he'll get down and dirty with it. He'll race with you. But green flag out this time, and there goes Chris Hamilton going wide. Mark Parker's taking the inside, shorter way around. Going to be side by side, coming up off the little bit of a corner there. Sideways jump for the number 64, and he's got a handle on that car. Mark Parker's getting a little bit tight, sliding up the racetrack. It is going to be Chris Hamilton taking the early lead. Can Mark Parkhurst make up this little bit of a gap that Chris Hamilton has put on already? And look how sideways Chris Hamilton has gotten that car.
Parkhurst needs to have a great last lap here as they're coming through the final corner of the lap, not the final race yet. But Parkhurst kind of maintaining now. Hamilton may be pulling away just a little bit. So as long as Hamilton can get his car rolling, which looks like he will. He's known as a GT3 racer, but he's well known on the dirt side, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Parkhurst dabbles in a little bit of everything. He's not the greatest, and he'll let you know about it. But Mark Parkhurst just out here having fun. He is last year's champion, so he's looking to go back to back on that as Chris Hamilton gets a little bit tight, pushes the car up towards the top, but he's got at least a 2-second gap in between him and Mark Parkhurst. So these two going to go to battle here, coming around to take the checkered flag, as I believe that was the finish line, and Chris Hamilton is your race winner. So Chris Hamilton going to move on to the next round.
Next two cars out is Crane and Tilford. So this one's also going to be interesting. Tilford and Crane going to be they're now setting up their cars to get rolling here, as Tilford's going a little bit fast as a pace lap-ish. But waiting on Carl, because the greens are going off Carl Hayward tonight off the radios, which you guys in the chat cannot hear. But coming out of the corner, green with Carl now, looks like Tilford gets a great jump. Great start for Dave Tilford there, but John Crane has the inside.
Oh, Crane
Tilford
goes way wide, almost gets into the wall. That's going to give Crane the lead. And that's just the nursery stock. I mean, it's not the greatest with a turning radius or anything like that. And there you just seen as John Crane took over the race lead. He's going to go wide now into the grass, get a little bit jumpy, slide job, rebuttal. Here we go. A little bit of a tap.
Cuts them off.
And Dave Tilford back to lead. So as quick as these drivers are swapping the lead is as quick as they're losing the lead.
Again. It's a send.
Oh, it's a send. A little bit of a nudge. Oh, a little bit more of a nudge, but it's going to be Dave Tilford leading the first lap, final lap here at Crandon.
Oh, Tilford, these guys are having a great fight now. Tilford's going to get a little bit of a slow run off. That's allowed Crane to at least stay with him now. Maybe Tilford does what Crane did on the last lap, run too wide there. Here comes Crane on the inside. It may get tight here. Tilford's going to have a good run off.
Oh, a little bit too sideways coming up off the jump for Crane there, but still in his tire tracks. Oh, he got into the back and Dave Tilford going to go ahead and swim it on a back around as Dave Tilford going to come around with the easy win with that little bit of a mishap from John Crane. And not going to lie, the thing that went through my mind, Brendan, when they were getting ready to go over the jump right behind each other, who's going to pull the Paul Walker and jump over somebody?
Yeah, I'll be amazing if I see that, but I don't know what you mean by easy win from these guys, from Tilford. I mean, he was fighting the whole race.
Yeah, so I mean, it was back and forth. It was a great race by those two drivers. But now we got the boiler up, Brandon Mettler in the number 15 of Boilermakers. And then we have the number 10 of Matt Crockett, the Rocket, in that Vegas Strong number 10. And green flag is out. Here we go for our first initial lap. And again, these two drivers staying side by side, keeping it in close proximity. Oh, a little bit of a glove tap there from Matt Crockett, as these two battling it out just like Dave Tilford and John Crane.
Yeah, Crockett had that little bit of a tap going through the second corner here, and Crockett's going to go way wide. Here comes Mettler. Mettler's gonna have the good line through the corner. Maybe we'll see a crossover from Crockett like we saw a lot from Crane last race. He has the speed.
I don't know if you noticed this, but Mettler played a little bit of a defensive line there, kept Crockett up in the dirt as long as he possibly could to get underneath Matt Crockett. Any other racer would have been like, all right, man, I'm going to give you the lane to come on down, as Matt Crockett went a little bit way too wide there, and that's going to allow Mettler to pull out to a little bit of a lead, as Crockett having a little bit of problems now as he can't get the car underneath of him, and he's beached. He beached the car. Oh, he pulled a Casey Kerwin. He's stuck. He's stuck.
Oh, no. Well, that's definitely going to give the win to Brandon Mettler. Mettler can just cruise at like 10 miles an hour and call it.
Yeah, I mean, tough break for Matt Crockett, not being able to get the win, as
Mettler parks it in front of the line.
Unless maybe they're going to wait for Crockett to get done.
Mettler's just messing around with it. It's checkered flag.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if they're going to let Crockett come back out since he beached his ride, as we're getting ready to get the next two cars on out here, as Carl Hedwerk doing admin duties, getting these drivers up and through, as Dave Tilford. And who's going to go? Oh, nope, wasn't Dave Tilford. He's going on back.
Right.
James Molyneux in the number 94. Coming on out here. See who he's going to go up against, as it's going to be Kevin Hollywood Foster. If there's anybody out there rooting anybody on, that's going to be Barry Kistler rooting on that number 8 machine. He's got the blue Pabst ribbon, pit party, number 8. I think that says PPR. I'm not really sure. I caught a little bit of a glimpse of it. Maybe the same. It is not. So, pit pay. That's what it is. It's not PBR. But anyways, green flag is out. 94-8. Doing it here at Crandon. James Molyneux taking that inside lane. And here comes Kevin Foster with a little bit of a rebuttal. Can he get the power down off the corner? He can. He's going to be side by side off the jump. And he's going to back out of it, letting Molyneux get down to the inside of the corner. Molyneux, a little bit too sideways there, and off to the next jump is Kevin Foster, trying to do what he can to get around Molyneux. Wants to move on to the next round. Doesn't want to be a first round exit, as they both had a bad quarter there. And there we go, off of the next jump. Kevin Foster thought about he faked him out. He faked him out. Look at that. Molyneux running wide. Kevin Foster down to the inside. Foster's going to take the lead. Final lap this time by.
Yeah. Oh, Foster out of contact. No, still side by side coming through the corner. Great racing so far. Still side by side. Kind of bad jumps here. Kevin Foster's going to come out with the lead, though. Let's see if he can hold it for just a few more cars.
Molyneux into the wall. If there was ever a demo derby race, this would be it. As, like you said earlier, Brendan, no suspension in this car, so you feel everything. It's not like one of those trucks where, you bounce up in the air, you don't really feel a lot. You're going to feel this in your tailbone after the night is over. Hopefully nobody in this league has a motion rig, because if you had a motion rig, I feel bad for you, tush. There's Kevin Foster.
You can see how...
Kevin Foster took the win. He's just going to go straight. There we go. Up and over. Hit. Oh, watch out. Who is that?
Oh, that's the pit road.
Dan Phelps, watch out. We got a flying car coming at you. It's Kevin Foster. Going to move on to the next round, as Paul Owens and Joe Sullivan are your next ones out here. So this is going to be round number 2.
But you can see how bounce or rigid these cars are. I mean, you saw Hollywood with those jumps here. As Sullivan's gonna have the inside here. But a great race on that last one, which was crazy. But now Paul Owens and Joseph Sullivan's your next matchup. Green flag out now. Let's see. Apollo's on that inside lane. He'll have the optimum line. Well, look at they're still side by side though. Sullivan's gonna have the good run out of the corner. Let's see what they can do now. Whoa, Sullivan! Mistakes!
Yeah, mistakes are something that you don't want to make, especially with just it being a 2-lap race. I mean, any racer knows, especially me, no patience. Jimmy, if you're out there watching, I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, patience, obviously, you don't really need it per se. I mean, kind of need it. You got to make the good, clean passes. But on the other hand, like me, with me being an oval guy, somewhat of a dirt guy, when you mess up one corner, that could ruin your whole lap as a collective. And then you're going to start pushing your car to try to get back up to that person to try to get it. Hurry up, come on, let's go. I want to hurry up, get back to the lead. And that's when you start overdriving even more and or wrecking yourself, as Paul Owens coming around to take the final lap. Got 2 more corners to do it. And Paul Owens could be moving on to the round number 3.
Paul Owens certainly gonna make it now. Unless Sullivan just makes a dive bomb, but no, it looks too hot. Those fronts get tight. Checkered flag for Paul Owens. He advances to the next round.
So Paul Owens doing Paul Owens things in that carbon fiber car. As we may have to check with tech, but I believe that car may be illegal with it being all carbon fiber. You know, carbon fiber is a little bit lighter than actual steel. So may have to go to tech on that, see what they say.
But now it's back with David Tilford and Christopher Hamilton. Now we're back we basically started the next round, and all these drivers are now who have raced at least once before. This is going to determine if you get into the feature or not. As waiting on Carl's single green flag now. Look at Hamilton had a little bit of a bump there on that court, on the jump. Excuse me. Tilford's going to have the optimum line, but look at the run the 64 car has. He's going to get tight, though. He's going to have to concede it for now. Dave Tilford trying to do as much as he can. Here comes Hamilton on the inside. Tilford with the power down on the outside. Great stuff from Tilford, managing to hold off Christopher Hamilton.
Yeah, looking at it now, Dave Tilford able to hold on to it, but there's only a little bit you can do before Chris Hamilton finds that groove again and it can get a pass made on Dave Tilford, looking to try to make it happen on the final lap as we just started it this time by. So Chris Hamilton has the time to get up there, but can he make the pass? I mean, I don't know. It's hard to do it. I mean, you know, catching somebody is one thing, but trying to pass them is another. So that's definitely going to be something that you got to pay attention to, especially coming up on the final stages of this race.
Oh, here he comes. Tilford makes a mistake. Hamilton's going to be on that outside now, but it looks like that car got tight. It's going to be close here. Notice the tail, but it looks like Dave Tilford would get it if he can handle it through the one final corner. Hamilton,
Chris Hamilton down to the inside. Who's got it? Oh, photo finish.
I think that's Tilford.
Who got it?
I think that's Tilford.
Oh man, I think what we need to do is find the point.
Slow-mo.
Okay, we need to go to the chopper cam. They don't. Oh, they do have this. But with us being in the broadcast booth, we can actually slow it down and see exactly who finished what, as we're going to try to stop it right at the finish line.
Right there. That's Tilford all day.
Let's look at TV mixed. No, that's not going to work.
Well, we're going to start the next race sometime soon, but it looks more of Tilford than Hamilton.
Yeah, it is super hard to tell. I mean, so close as everybody try. I think, yeah, I'm thinking Tilford got that. Yeah, Tilford definitely got it. Looking at it at a far chase camera now, David Tilford definitely got the race win, as that was close.
The next race has started though. Paul Owens, I mean, Kevin Foster had the great run out of the beginning. Oh, Paul Owens gonna turn him. Paul Owens gonna turn the 8, but out of respect, he's gonna park it and let him get going like normal. Great respect out of the two drivers, and now we're gonna be side by side coming to the next jump. It's still gonna be Foster in the lead because that's how it was beforehand. Let's see. Now this is all gonna be true fighting. Foster has about 3 car lengths on Paul Owens, but let's see what Paul can do here. Gonna be close, Dylan.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be close. You got 2 fast hot rods out there trying to make it happen, and just the respect shown by Paul Owens to stop and let Kevin Foster get his car rallied back around.
Oh, but Foster makes a mistake. He hit the wall on the start-finish line.
Oh,
That's
no.
Paul Owens to come back.
Paul Owens gets a little bit too sideways. Kevin, put the power down. Don't get in that right rear. Here comes Kevin down to the inside, side by side. Oh, Kevin Foster powers around. Here comes Paul Owens.
Again.
Throwing the block, Kevin Foster to the race lead. Is Kevin Foster trying to put down some more distance between these two, as this is the final lap of this 2-lap race. Down the final stretch into the final hairpin of a quarter. And it's going to be a close one. Who's going to be able to get it? It's going to be Kevin Foster. Paul Owens, are we going to have another photo finish?
Oh.
Kevin Foster into the wall, but it's going to be Foster. Foster with the lucky dog coming out here, making everything work, as Paul Owens is eliminated from tonight's competition.
Though, real quick, that was great. Out of pure respect, though, Paul Owens could have easily put himself up into the feature when he turned Foster, but he stopped that and let Foster get back up in front. So that is some great respect out of them too. As we see some shenanigans from Mettler and Marshall, the dirt guy, who was the fastest in that timing table you have on screen now. So we're going to see what he will be able to do. As coming down the final hairpin under yellow, technically, waiting on Handworks go around. Green flag is out. Thaddeus with the outside lane, but he knows what to do with that cushion if it's there. He knows how to drive these dirt street stocks. Thaddeus Marshall putting the power down on the outside. Mettler taking a little bit slower on the inside. But Mettler is going to be in the back a little bit. And there goes Thaddeus, which I believe that's just going to settle it from here on out.
Yeah, Thaddeus Marshall is the dirt guy. I didn't think he was going to be good, especially on a jumpy track, but look at him go. He's making it work. He's doing what he needs to do to be out front, and that's where you got to be. And Thaddeus Marshall putting the gap on Brandon Mettler, as that gap is 1 point. Well, you can't really go by gaps right now just because, it's the practice. But, yeah, Thaddeus Marshall doing what he can do, as he's going to go a little bit wide, hit that jump kind of catawampus, but nonetheless still a big enough lead. Doesn't have to worry about Brandon Mettler coming up and trying to take the lead away.
No, he's built up such a big gap now. Brandon Mettler is basically a speck in the rearview mirror now. He just has to go through 2 more hairpins and 1 straight to put himself into the feature, which it looks like he will be able to do very easily. Thaddeus Marshall will be this heat's winner.
Yeah, Thaddeus Marshall coming around that final hairpin there. Uses the cushion to his advantage. Normally, dirt cars go left instead of right, but tonight, they're going left and right. So definitely going to test the patience of some of these drivers, as Thaddeus Marshall gets the race win here tonight, and he moves on to tonight's feature presentation. As next car's out on track. I haven't seen Carl Handwerk come out yet, so I wonder if Carl Handwerk is going to be...
He actually is.
Oh,
now.
Look at that.
He
Boom!
just announced himself.
Boom! Look at that.
And I believe his opponent is Mettler again, so Mettler will still have a chance, at least against Handwork. I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it's going to be Carl Handwerk and Paul Butler.
Oh, my radio was wrong then.
As Paul Butler out there. Unless Paul Butler... Let me look and see here, but I think Paul Butler... So Paul Butler pretty much got a freebie going in here. As Derek Sherman and Tyler Kokeko are both not here. So Paul Butler moving on to the feature. Same with Carl Handwerk, unless these two drivers are going to run against each other, as it looks like they are not going to.
I really don't know anymore. I want to be able to tell you as well as I know it like you, buddy, but...
Yeah, I mean, more time out there on the track. That's the way I'd look at it. Whether I'm out there with somebody, I got more track time. That's all I'm looking forward to. I mean, obviously the track's going to transition the way that you hope it.
Nails that tire bearing.
Oh, nails the other one. But luckily, the damage fixes itself. So you don't have to worry about that. As Carl Handwerk coming out on track in that number 18. Get a nice little look at Carl Handwerk because he's going to slow roll his way. And
maybe waiting on Butler. Yeah, maybe the next fight.
Yeah, I'm thinking...
Butler may have came out of the initial rounds, and now since he's technically in the second round, yep, he is going to be racing with Handwerk. So those few laps earlier was just him basically officially saying, yeah, I made it through the first round, now I'm here in the second round with Handwerk, and I don't think it's going to be the feature just yet. As I do believe there will be a consultation race kind of thing. After all these heats, we'll add 4 more drivers that have lost today into that. As Paul Butler with the inside of the next corner, green flag is out. Handwerk on the outside. They get decently good starts, though. Paul Butler with a good inside run, and actually he's gonna overcook it. Oh! Almost up and over for Paul Butler.
He's got to hurry up and get that car switched back on around because Carl Handwerk is not getting off the gas pedal whatsoever. He's had many races stolen away from him. So many second-place finishes here this season, looking to capitalize. Well, yeah, not this, not this race in particular, but he's had a lot of races this season come and be taken away by finishing second and or third. So Carl Handwerk putting the hammer down, trying to put out a statement like, hey, I'm meant to be here. I want to be here. I'm going for my 5th championship. Is
Butler
Paul
just
Butler.
nailed the wall again.
Paul Butler not having a good time. I think he used all those good laps before Carl. Okay, he used up all of his good laps, and now you're seeing something else happen. Oh, yeah. Paul Butler's having a time of his life. Tequila time in that number 77 machine.
Yeah, he's just racing for fun now at this point. As you see Handwerk on the other side of the track, who's on his final lap coming around to take his heat dub. This is just watching on Paul Butler. Handwerk's is going to take the race as he's crossing the finish line now.
So Carl Handwerk getting the win, overcooked it. Oh, I would have just stayed in the gas. Let me jump it some more. As Paul Butler coming around the second to last final straight. So Paul Butler coming around finally to get his 2 laps in. And here we are for the final time here for the number 77. Into the wall he goes.
Man, we are looking inside Barney. This is not good. Children, please look away.
as Paul says, you know what? I'm just going to back up across the start finish line. Nope. I'll go ahead and get it flipped on back around and race over for Paul Butler.
We are sorry for any children who have to see the inside of Barney the Flagman, as that should not be frowned upon anybody in this league. But somebody had to deal with it.
Yeah. Is Brady Mettler coming on out with Kevin Hollywood Foster.
This is the consultation. We are done. We are done with the races. This is now the consultations.
Oh, so races are done. Getting ready for the consolation races to find out who the next 4 drivers are going to be.
Yeah, whoever's the top 4 in this race will make it to the feature guaranteed. If you haven't already, I believe. Because it looks like a couple of these drivers here have made their way in to said features. So we will see how this will shake up.
Hey, looking at it now, these 4 drivers all won their races and made it to the feature. As, yeah, I believe this would be like a C main if you would think about it. You know, alphabet soup kind of thing. So now we're going to have 4 drivers out there on the track, and green flag is out. Carl Hedwick, Thad Marshall in the back. And then you got Dave Tilford and Kevin Foster on the outside, getting a little bit too straight in the corner, a little bit too tight, as Thad Marshall moving his way up the pack. Kevin Foster back to the back he goes, and here comes Carl Hedwick all the way up to P number 2 as of right now.
Oh, Thaddeus.
Yeah, Thad didn't have a good
Foster.
jump. Oh, Foster getting a little bit too hot and spicy into the corner. Able to get it back underneath his feet as Dave Tilford is trying to check out and away from Carl Hedwick. Jabs the brakes there just a little bit, get that car pointed and turned, and back on the gas goes that number 12.
And actually, looking at this now, I believe this race is just for starting order within the top 4. Because, like you said, everybody else has won this race, and there's only 4 drivers here. So this is just going to decide the top 4 in the feature, I believe. As all I know as much as you do, Dylan. But Dave Tilford doing very well right now. He's actually going to go into the grass a little bit. So Hamilton's going to follow. He's going to try and... Ooh. Hamilton had a little bit of a maneuver there. Not going to be enough, though, that corner. And I don't think it'll be enough at all. Dave Tilford will come around to take the win here if Hamilton can't get the run. Which it looks like it'll be. Oh, and Hamilton messed up anyways.
Ooh, Thaddeus Marshall coming around to take P number 2. Kevin Foster crosses in 3rd, and then Carl Hedwick finishes P number 4. So the top 4 are set. It's going to be Tilford, Marshall, Foster, and Hedwick. Now, here's where the fun begins. This is where you're going to see who makes the last 4. Who's going to take those last 4 spots away from all these other drivers? But while they have that going on, we're going to go ahead and cut over to a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Commercial break.
Well, no, never mind. Everybody, they're already coming out, so I'm not going to do it. Yeah, that would have been bad. Start doing the commercial break, and all of a sudden they're already racing, and then you come back and race is over. So, want to give a big shout out to everybody who has liked, shared, subscribed to CRN, as we got a lot of business coming through the door. We almost every day of the week, in dirt, oval, road. No jumping trucks yet. Still on the to-do list, but we have pretty much every discipline but one, no matter what it is. I guess if you count Core Premier Series, they do everything, so I guess you could do it. Now we have 10 drivers out here, 2 laps for a dash to see who makes that final 4. As Joe Sullivan still trying to catch up to the leaders. got a little bit of a late start there. As Joe Sullivan should be able to catch up to the front pack.
This is a 4-lap event, I just heard. Top 4 make the feature. So luckily everybody else has a little bit more time because this is going to be a very chaotic start with how many cars we got here.
It may be chaotic, but it's going to be fun while they do it. As getting ready to get the green flag going down the final straight into, I believe, what is the final right-hand corner. It's going to be Mark Parkhurst, Paul Jelly Owens, Spelling Bee on the front row. Who's going to get the jump? And who's going to walk away and come back in for the final 4 as the green flag is out. And already James Molino. James Molino not having a good start. He's going to get turned there.
All right.
They're going to restart him? Alrighty.
Yeah, re-rack. Because that was kind of chaos immediately as Crane, it looked like immediately turned James Molino on that, but Carl put the announcement out, we're going to re-rack him and try and do it again.
Now here's where it could get interesting. Now you've had the re-rack. What is going to be the key to getting up to that top 4? Is it going to be push as hard as you can for the first 2 laps and just chill for the last 2? Or is it going to be push all 4 laps and hope everything comes in your way?
Probably the latter, because if you don't push, you're in the back, and then you throw yourself at even higher risk of getting caught up in an accident, unlike how unfortunately how James Molino did, as we are kind of waiting on them. I don't know where they are. Is James Molino back in? There's Crane. Okay. So Crane is back in. I don't know where James Molino is.
James Molino is coming up through the pack. He's up there in P number 4, as you, I guess, could put it. As re-rack and restack for the attempt number 2. A little bit of a door shot there by the number 23. He's going to go a little bit wide. Gets a better restart this time. Going to be side by side with Paul Owens. Using that outside, hits the berm. And he's still going to be side by side. And look at all the cars jumping over the jump. As Mark Parkhurst.
Paul Butler.
Mark Parkhurst.
We got a little moment.
And there's just a lot going on throughout this whole pack. Is James Molino falling back through the pack. John Crane up here to P number 3. He's in that final transfer spot now. As here comes Christopher Hamilton.
Molino's turned in front. There goes Crockett. Mettler around.
Oh, look at that. A shot from the number 11 to the number 85. He's going to put him up towards the wall. Whoa! Rear end is broken on the number 85. Thankfully,
it'll be fixed immediately, but that's a loss of time.
Oh, yeah. Big loss of time as he got a shot from the number 11. As the 11 fighting. As of right now, he's making the show. The top 4 are going to be Parkhurst, Owens, Hamilton, and Crane. No, Crane, no! Get us back straight. No! DC, no! He's going to lose that. Paul Butler is now going to be the final, or Joe Sullivan's going to be the final transfer spot. I guess we can now say that broadcaster's curse on John Crane belongs to moi. As Paul Butler trying to catch up to Joe Sullivan. He's right there on the back bumper. He needs to have 4 good consecutive laps to get to the number 76. And here he comes down to the inside to get out of that slick. Makes it work. As up here towards the front, Chris Hamilton.
Hamilton's making a move on Paul Owens. Hamilton's there. He's doing all that he can now, side by side on the final straightaway. The new grass model slowed down Paul Owens a little. Here comes Hamilton's basically through now, but now there's Parkhurst in P3.
Yeah, Hamilton from the back to the front challenge is complete. As
Can he
Hamilton
hold it though?
takes the lead.
Oh, Paul's around.
Owens is around. That's going to help out the number 77 as Paul Butler was able to get around Joe Sullivan. So the new top four going to be Chris Hamilton, Mark Parkhurst, Paul Butler, and Joe Sullivan. And this is just a lot going on, and I believe this is the final lap.
No, this is a lap. No announcement, at least from Handwork, about this being
the
the
grass
final.
goes Paul Butler. Get it back on there, buddy. There you go.
He's gonna do it.
He's got to keep it on the track because here comes the number 54. If the 54 can get around the 76, the 54 will be in the show, while the 76 is put back on the hauler and going back
white flag
home.
now, so
Going to keep an eye on this battle back here with these two. As Joe Sullivan hit the jump just a little bit wonky. And there's the gap for the final transfer spot between the 54 and the 76.
yeah, looks like Paul Butler is gonna make, if he can hold it. I want to see if he makes a jump. He should. He looks straight. I can't tell because we're focused so far on Joseph Sullivan because he's getting pressure from Paul Owens.
A little bit too sideways, but he's going to be able to hold on to it. Got the power down. And Joe Sullivan able to hold off the number 54 with a late run towards the top. As final quarter here, Paul Owens with a deep dive down to the inside. Can't make it stick. Going to be side by side. Going to give him the bumper.
Oh, he gets turned.
He gets turned. And
He's got to get that thing turned around.
he's got to get it going. Yeah, he got it. He got it. He got it over Brandon Mettler. Oh, man. What a sight to see. As Joe Sullivan able to get the car back to first gear and get it done. As, man, that was an absolute crazy finish. As your top four moving on are going to be Chris Hamilton in the number 64, the 23, the 77, and the 76. As these three drivers, I have to stay out to get the final four spots figured out. So who's going to start P number 5, P number 6, P number 7, P number 8? And with Hamilton,
I believe you go.
I mean, with Hamilton starting on the front row, we can already see what's going to be in store for this one. As it looks like everybody's still staying out there. So I'm not sure what's going on here.
I believe Handwork is making sure on some finishing positions because we obviously saw how close Mettler and Sullivan were. So maybe he's just trying to make sure and confirm as we get a little bit of, I guess, post-race shenanigans.
Yeah, always some good post-race shenanigans for the CRN crew and Core Racing crew. As you see there, Christopher Hamilton repping CRN every week on any kind of car that he gets put on the show. So now they're going to come to a complete stop, and I believe they got it all figured out. So now we're going to see Chris Hamilton come back out. Possibly Brandon Mettler doing burnouts. Yes, he is. As I could hear it in Kevin Foster now out there on the racetrack.
Well, these are just practice laps now because the checkered flag is thrown out for all of it. We are now advancing to the feature and we made sure Joseph Sullivan has made it into the feature by who knows how close, because they about killed each other there.
Yeah, it was an absolute show up there. It may say all of 15 drivers are in here, or 14, excuse me, but only 8 of them are going to take the race. As you can see, all 8 are out here trying to make their due diligence out here. So, starting, well, they're going to do a pace lap, get everybody in the correct order, and then go green for, I believe, I don't even know how many laps they're going to do.
iRacing is showing 11, but they're going to take one extra pace lap to get everybody in order. And then, so really we should have a 10 lap feature in general. So this should be an interesting one. As Kelly Pointer, we see you in the chat. Kelly Pointer, Orioles, if you need anything from... I just said Orioles. That is not what he sells. If you need any more, go to his business and all of that. See John, Barry Kistler, then active in the chat all the time. He's been active in the chat since the beginning of the race, so...
Oh, yeah.
We appreciate all of you. If you're new, make sure to subscribe here. As we're full this week, I believe, even though we have a couple series off, we will be full within a couple more.
Yeah, waiting for the lucky dog to come on by and set up their season is they're not going to have one night of racing. They're going to have 2 nights of racing. So Lucky Dog going to have a Super Speedway League and I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe they're going to go to a Tour Modified for a season. That's going to be something fun. I love the Tour Modifieds. If there's ever a car that I wanted to drive more of, it would definitely be the Tour Mods. Sucks that, obviously on the broadcaster I can't race with those gentlemen, but nonetheless, still going to be a great time out there on the track.
It will, as it now looks like everybody is organized up. Now the green flag will be on Carl Handwork, and then it will be a 10-lap feature, which will be an interesting one to see. Even though it's less cars than the one we had in the Constellation earlier, it is still going to be just as much chaos because these guys are such similar skill levels now. Track has been reset, it looks like, because the dirt up on the high lane has disappeared. So we should have a somewhat fresh track now for these guys to use, which could prove vital on some guys' driving style. As we're now coming to the final hairpin. That is Marshall on the inside. Dave Tilford technically has pole though, but the green flag is on Handwork.
Yeah, Handwork go to count these drivers down. Look at Thad getting a little bit of a leeway through David Tilford. Half a car distance. Green flag is out for the 10-lap feature here tonight. Thaddeus Marshall getting it done on that outside. Oh, look at about 4 wide towards the back of the pack.
Handwork in the wall.
Handwork into the wall, but keeping it solid. Is maybe a 3-wide situation between Kevin Hollywood Foster and Carl Handwork, with Christopher Hamilton not going to be able to get it done, but it's going to be Thad Marshall out there at the point as of right now for the first part of this race. Again, it's only 10 laps. Those 10 laps could go by fairly quickly, as the top 3 are going to be Marshall, Tilford, Handwork. As it's only a matter of time before we start seeing that number 64 make up all these positions to get up towards the top.
Well, speaking of him, he's side by side with Handwork now. Hamilton is trying to do all that he can. That's actually new P3 is Kevin Foster, because Handwork seems to be struggling early on in this race. Hamilton's going to have the move done after the jump.
Yeah, new P4 is going to be Christopher Hamilton. Trying to make something work here. Doesn't want to finish second or third. Wants to get that first. Wants to get that win here tonight. Help him with his championship hopes. Here's Carl Handwork gets crossed over. 2 cars. Oh, Kevin Foster. There's a pole there, but can't punk there. That's Kevin Foster. Hard to the outside wall. I don't know if it's... Oh, man. I just saw Kevin's life flash before my eyes. A new top 3 yet again is Dave Tilford holding off Christopher Hamilton at P number 3. All I can say is if Carl Handwork, since Carl Handwork was behind that, I bet all I can tell you is Carl was probably like, hey, there's a pole there, and starts laughing immediately as these two, Dave Tilford and Chris Hamilton, doing battle now. You see how locked they had that wheel going into the corner. Chris Hamilton just can't get the power down to get around Dave Tilford, and that is a very improved driver. Dave Tilford, I mean, if there was a most improved driver throughout the season, Dave Tilford would be that guy.
But I'm sure back to the Foster incident, I mean, I'm sure not only Hamilton was laughing his butt off, he probably also had an oh crap moment because it happened right in front of him. But go back to the lead to this present day now, Tilford building a gap a little bit, Hamilton trying to do all he can after the jump. Looks like he's doing a great job, Hamilton is. As you see, the front wheel just kind of almost stops there for a little bit before the momentum gets back going. Yeah. As Tilford's actually pulling away.
Yeah, trying to get that car situated. I mean, he's stabbing the brake, trying to get the car to turn, but with it being the dirt street stock on a fresher track, I mean, you got to do a little bit more to get this car to rotate. I mean, the car's like a big boat, so to speak. So, I mean, there's a lot to go into it, especially with it being a new track or fresh track, I should say. But it's just the dirt street stock is. Who would have thought to put the dirt street stock on a jumpy track? And I bet all these drivers, doesn't matter if they made the race or if they're actually racing, are still having fun out here and jumping around, just trying to make up any track position that they can make. As David Tilford.
Oh, Tilford went wide. Hamilton just went straight through.
Yeah, that opened up the door for Chris Hamilton. He's going to take over P number 2, but here comes Dave Tilford down to the inside. These two had one of the closest battles for the win, and I think Chris Hamilton wants that revenge now. He's like, you know what? You beat me by an inch. I'm going to beat you by a mile here in the feature race. So Bridesmaid doing what he needs to do to take over that Bridesmaid position here tonight.
Well, unfortunately, that's probably going to be the only spot he'll finish in, because if you look on the track map, it's just gone. Oh, there's a car around. I'm looking on something else on my end, but that's something completely different. But Thaddeus is gone now from Hamilton, so Hamilton will basically finish in the bridesmaid's position, as actually my iRacing is showing the next closest battle. Kevin Foster sending it down the inside, trying to pick up spots back up from Joseph Sullivan. He's down the inside now. Sullivan trying to do what he can. Foster had a great move in the previous corner. He sent it deep on the inside and made it stick. And on these dirt street stocks is impressive, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, with Kevin Foster flipping and doing whatever he was doing with the pole, to make him come all the way back up here to P number 6 and challenge for P number 5 if he can get up to Carl Hedward, that is very impressive. Here, as Dave Tilford had a little bit of an issue there. He's going to drop back to P number 3, and that's a new top 3 as Paul Butler moves up to P number 3.
Yeah, look at Paul Butler, the man who we were doubting earlier because he was struggling. Now sitting P3, and this would be a legendary moment for our guy here, as he's actually pulling away from Dave. So I don't know what happened to Tilford, but he is not looking comfortable in that car right now.
Yeah, he's not. And we're just going to go ahead and check on up here with Mr. Thad Marshall. Carved out a 7-second lead over Chris Hamilton, making everything work in his favor.
Contact. Tilford got rear-ended from Hamilton. They're going to stay the way they are. But that was almost a very close one. Hamilton is struggling to get that car back straight. Yeah. And now he just finally does it going into the corner.
Yeah, luckily with it being on dirt, there's a little bit more forgiveness. As, I mean, all you're going to do is just slide everywhere. You're not going to, overcorrect as, I mean, you can still overcorrect, but with it being on dirt, you're just going to slide overcorrect, where on asphalt, you get any type of traction on that right rear. If you're trying to correct it, you're going to overcorrect and snap into the wall. So That's something you definitely got to watch out for. Here is Carl Handwerk falling back even more, but Thaddeus Marshall taking the white flag here. He is up to an 8-second lead, and I think this is win number 5 on the season for Thaddeus Marshall, if he can get it done here tonight.
All dirt series, I'm assuming, but I mean, I know he's had success in other series earlier. I just don't remember what. But
Yeah,
it looks
I
like
think
he's doing just fine in the dirt street.
Yeah, he won at the plate track of Daytona.
Right, I knew there was something else.
And then dirt track racing, but it's going to be Thaddeus Marshall getting the win here at Crandon. Second place is going to be Christopher Hamilton as he's coming around to take the checkered flag. Paul Butler, though, all the way back here, getting ready to take the final corner. Dave Tilford right behind him. He doesn't get any tightness out of the car, but Paul Butler going to finish P number 3, Dave Tilford in 4th, Carl Handwerk in 5th, 6th, Kevin Foster 7th, Joe Sullivan, and rounding out your 8-car field is going to be Mark Parkhurst. So an absolute blast of a race is we're going to go ahead and get the results pulled on up here and get our top 8 or I almost said top 8. Get our top 3 into the booth. Yeah. Get our top 3 into the booth. Here is going to be Thaddeus Marshall with the race win. Christopher Hamilton in 2nd. Paul Butler running our top 3. Dave Tilford in 4th. Carl Handwerk coming home P number 5. Kevin Foster in 6th. Joe Sullivan in 7th. Mark Parkhurst in 8th. Paul Owens 9th. Matt Crockett 10th. Brady Miller 11th. Brendan, you weren't out there, but 12th. Dan Phelps, 13th. James Molyneux in 14th. And running out your 15-car field will be John Crane.
In a race at all, and I finished higher than Phelps, Molyneux, and Crane. How do I do it? I'm not going to tell you.
It happens. But we're going to go ahead and move on to our 3rd place finisher. That's going to be the number 77 of Paul Butler. Paul, this Dylan and Brendan of the booth got a copy.
I do. What's up, fellas?
Oh, just up here watching you guys scribble scrabble. You made it into the feature, and I mean you had a couple of good laps there. Then it seems like you got to race Carl, and all the knowledge that you had from the track kind of just went out the window. Was tequila time a factor before starting that next race, or was it just the track kind of changed there for you a little bit?
Well, I wish it was tequila time, but I was at a meeting for the coaches of jiu-jitsu at our gym, so I didn't get any practice at all. And then I came in, and as soon as I got in, it was time for me to go into my heat race, or whatever you want to call it. And my steering wheel was set up for a different wheel, so my steering was set up 90 degrees to the left.
Oh.
And so I couldn't control the car during the first race. So then in the LCQ, I kind of got my bearings there, and then everybody just kind of gave me positions in the final race. I didn't even have to do nothing. Yeah,
I mean, obviously, Chris Hamilton worked his way from the back. You worked your way from the back. And you didn't have to do anything, like you said. I mean, everybody kind of spun themselves out, getting into a corner a little bit too hot, getting up into the grass, hitting the wall, pulling a Kevin Foster, hitting a pole, and, bouncing backwards. But hell of a way to end the regular season with a nice P3 here tonight. Now it's playoff racing. What's going to be your mindset?
Like I said last week, I'm going to try and consistently get in the top 5. It's been 2 weeks in a row. I've been in 3rd place, so I like that. And I'm ready to move on to playoffs.
So we got bridesmaid for P2. Would it be the groomsman for P3?
I'm not fortunate enough to always get P3. This just happened to, I'm taking lucky this week. There was no skill involved, so let's see what happens.
Yeah, well,
these guys here, they're no joke. These guys are good at this. I got lucky tonight.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can attest to that, Paul. As you know, me and you, we used to race in these Core Premier Series, and I ended up taking myself out of it. Got up in the broadcast booth, so I already know the competition level. It doesn't matter if it's road, oval, dirt road, or dirt. These guys will find a way to make you work for every inch of the racetrack, and that's what we've seen here tonight. But, Paulie, before we let you get on out of here, is there anybody on that number 77 machine you'd like to give a shout out to?
Oh, just all the boys here in Core. You guys for broadcasting. David Tilford, he's taken on a lot of responsibility here, helping us out with the points and scoring and all the cool things he brings to the table. Carl always putting in a lot of work, and then all the guys that continue to show up week in and week out. It just goes to show how great this league is, and I'm appreciative to be here.
All right, buddy, we're going to go ahead and let you get out of here, celebrate that third place finish here tonight, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you, boys.
All right, that's going to be our third place finisher of Paul Butler. And now we're going to be joined by our second place finisher in Brendan. You get the honors of walking the bridesmaid down the aisle and putting her right next to the bride. So
I got my dress on.
See?
He already knows.
That's why they call me the bridesmaid.
Well, you could say, unfortunately, another bridesmaid, Chris, but you've made your way up through all these races here and all that jazz, especially that, the 4 race thing with you, Handwork, and the other 2 guys. It seems very chaotic from the broadcast booth. How was it for you, really, throughout the entire night, really, not just the feature?
It is just as chaotic. I promise you, you guys are having more fun than I was. But it was fun.
I mean, you kind of pulled a Carl Handwork getting beat by, like, a fender.
Yeah, and I should probably mention that. Tilford barely got you by a bumper, man. I mean,
It was hard to
that
pass.
was close.
It was hard to pass on this track. You really had to either force your way through, have a crazy amount of momentum, or wait for that guy to make a mistake. So the race was so short between the head-to-head between myself and Tilford that when he did make the mistake, I capitalized too late. So then I just, all right, let's make the feature, big points night, even though points really didn't matter too much for me. And I at least wanted to make the feature, that's always the goal. And then come feature time, I'm behind Tilford again. But this time he went a little wider than what he did in our head-to-head, and I was able to get it. And then Thad was running consistently faster than me. He was running 44s, I was barely on the 45 flats, so hats off to him. That's what practice does for you.
Yeah, that's what practice will do. But before we get you out here to celebrate your another bridesmaid moment, does anybody like to thank on that 64 machine?
First of all, a huge shout out to Ryan McCauley. He does a great paint scheme when he has the chance to. These paint schemes are awesome. I love running them, and I hope they come up good on the broadcast. So tonight was the waifu car, the waifu warrior. Huge shout out to all the racers. This combination is not easy, but it sounds like everyone had a good time. And thank you guys for the broadcast.
Again, congratulations. We're going to get you back down to the broadcast waiting room. Congratulations on that B2.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
You as well, Chris. All right, that's going to be our second place finisher, the bridesmaid. Now, we're going to move on to the race winner. I guess we can just call him an all-around winner chicken dinner. Doesn't matter if it's on a dirt oval or on a jumping track with a dirt street stock. This man can get it done. That's going to be the number 4 of Thaddeus Marshall. This is Dylan and Brendan in the booth. Get a copy.
Yes, sir, I do.
All right. I didn't. Okay, where'd you get the road racing or the rally racing skills at, man?
I've actually been practicing this combo for the last couple of weeks. Not gonna lie, during practicing, I was ahead of Chris in times, and I kind of got worried when he got up to second there. I thought he was just gonna catch up to me real quick, but I guess just ran out of time, and he actually said I was running faster lap times than him, which surprised me.
Yeah, I mean, I thought for sure it was going to be, the Chris Hamilton show, but with him starting towards the back and you starting up towards the front, like he said, it was hard to pass, hard to get runs on people. You had to pretty much wait for the guy in front of you to make a mistake. But nonetheless, I mean, 7-second gap by any means is a big gap, especially here in the Core Racing Premier Series. Is a lot of competition, a lot of different skill levels all the way around, and just the competition level has risen so much. But you didn't really need all the bonus points that you got here tonight. You made the playoffs. You were just kind of out here just trying to add more points onto that win total and a point total. But how was it for you inside the car, that other than us up here in the booth?
I mean, it really didn't feel too bad in the car. I knew mainly for those the left-handed turns, it was going to be like driving a normal dirt street stock. Really, I was struggling with that right-handed turn, and I think a couple of days ago I just finally figured it out, and leaving the car in fourth gear the entire time and just kind of pedaling it. But luckily it worked out. Chris lost his bracket race against Tilford, which definitely helped me out quite a bit going into the playoffs.
Yeah, it definitely helps you out a lot. And we didn't get a chance to ask Chris this, but which track preference did you prefer? Did you like the beaten down blue kind of racetrack, or did you prefer the fresh track state that we got for the feature?
Either one. Really, I really don't have a preference. I like the beat down one that I ran in the bracket against Metler, and then it's just the rework they did and just made everything so much faster, and I just couldn't make any mistake. And luckily Tilford didn't get into me on the start of that race and just kept it clean the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do what you got to do when you can do it. But now it's playoff time. It's a whole new set. Yeah, I mean, you have the most momentum going into the playoffs. I don't see you letting off the throttle anytime soon. You're definitely going to be one of those top 5 in the championship race. Can't wait to see what you do throughout this next couple weeks. But Thad, before we get you on out of here, is there anybody on that number 4 machine you'd like to give a shout out to?
I got to give a shout out to you guys up and broadcast each of these races, and my wife sitting over near me, supporting me, and then family and all for putting on the race tonight.
All right, Thad, we're going to go ahead and let you get on out of here. Celebrate that win again, and we'll be talking to you again hopefully next week.
All right, thank you.
All right, Brendan, that's going to do it for our race winner here tonight. Like we said earlier, there's a lot going on, but before we get into all that, want to give a big shout out to each and every one of these subscribers. 720 subscribers to CRN. Want to thank everybody who's liked, shared, subscribed to CRN. Make sure you guys hit that follow button, like the video, comment, anything you do to help us out. Share with your mom, your dad, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your wife, aunts, uncles, dogs, cats, hamsters, if you got one, a fish. Who may never know? People that love fish. Send it out to everybody. Want to give a big shout out to Lucky Dog Racing for having CRN on as a broadcaster. PSCRL, UCRL, Core Racing League. Kelly Porter, thank you very much for sponsoring all of Core Racing League's series. I want to give a big shout out to you, Brendan, for stepping in the booth with me every week. Even though some weeks I'm not here, you still step up, help me out in the broadcast booth. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow night as the GT series goes back racing, as they get ready to settle their championship hopes. I don't even know the track. There's just so many different tracks that are happening throughout CRN here. Tuesday night, you're going to see myself at the broadcast booth for the Smoky Mountain Dirt Track Racing League as they go 305 racing at Volusia. Tuesday night, you're also no ARCA Menard series, as that series is over for the season. Wednesday night, you got the Chop Shop GT League with Mark Thomas and Carl Handenberg at the broadcast booth. Thursday, no broadcast. Friday may have a Feg Custom PC broadcast, not 100% sure. Saturday, we have a PSCRL with Jimmy and Mark Thomas in the broadcast booth. Sunday, we're back here. It's playoff time for the Core Premier Series. You'll see me and Brendan Polt back in the broadcast booth. But that's going to do it for myself and Brendan Polt in the broadcast booth. Make sure you guys take care. Brush your hair.
Target on my back, lone survivor.